Hey all, it's Eagle Aaron, and today I'm talking about hierarchy. Now, I know some people have mentioned that they think there is cases for justified hierarchies, and I would say that they haven't actually got the 100% best way of describing things, because in the examples given, like a parent taking care of a child, or an artist who is trying to exert their creative expression, like maybe through directing, where you need their creative vision to be maintained and you can't have many different people contributing to it, or in cases of safety where you want to have no confusion, you want to have know exactly who to sort of take orders from, right? Now, people say that those are examples of justified hierarchies, or people say that there are indigenous cultures where they have hierarchy, like the elders are super respected and everyone else, in society sort of reveres them and lets them make decisions and stuff. Now, I would argue that none of those examples require you to have a hierarchy. For a parent to keep a child safe, well, if the child isn't old enough to respond to you warning them, or if warning them isn't going to work anyway, because maybe they're too close or whatever and you need to push them out the way, you can do that for anyone. They don't need to be a child. If someone is about to get hit by a car, I would hope that you would want to save them, not just only if they're a child or your child. I don't know if owning children is a good idea anyway. But, so yeah, it's not something that you need a hierarchy for. You don't need a pecking order. You don't need an established, you will do what I say to be saved from a car. Like, it's in your best interest to not get hit. And if you don't have the ability to avoid it, then it's in your best interest for someone else to forcibly remove you from that situation. And you don't have to have a hierarchy in place. That person doesn't have to need express authority to move people to be able to move you in a situation where they reasonably think you would want to be moved, even if you haven't said so yourself, because we understand that getting hit by a car sucks, and etc. It's really not a reason for a hierarchy, in my opinion. Same story with security. So let's say it's a very dangerous situation and it's potential for certain people to get taken out. Maybe this is a rescue operation or something, and so perhaps you need to have a very maybe there's one person, like an example I heard, I think non-compete saying, is like the ship captain and then the crew. So the captain might be able to see stuff better, and so there's practical reasons for why you'd want to pay attention to what they're saying over, someone who can't see what's happening outside if you're in the bulkhead somewhere with someone. So in that case, there's a practical reason to listen to the captain. And if there's a chain of command, it's a chain of people who are it's a functional thing. So it's like these people will communicate to you because the information is coming from here and they're closer to it than you. There's always a functional, practical reason for it. So you don't need a hierarchy for that, because you already have people who are wanting the success of the vehicle, and if they trust in the judgments of the captain and whatever, then they can cooperatively and voluntarily work together and implement these safety plans without there being a hierarchy, without there being a power structure in place forcing them to cooperate in that. Now, you might argue, well, what if someone doesn't do what they said without a hierarchy? Well, I'm saying that we need to be better at collectivizing and we need to be better at cooperating so that you don't have people like that, because you can definitely have practical, pragmatic, reasonable reasons to expect people to agree to things like that. And so if they don't, then that's a problem that needs to be solved. You need to fix the reason for why they don't want to act in their own best interest, not enforce a hierarchy to then they were still going to not want to cooperate, but now they have to because of some other coercion. Rather, address the reason why they don't want to cooperate and don't take them on your ship until they're ready to cooperate or whatever. And the same with a director. There if you believe in the artistic vision as someone on the support crew, and you think the film is going to be much better if they have singular control of the artistic vision or whatever, then you voluntarily agree to help them. And so yeah, even in that case, there isn't a need for a hierarchy. All you need is realistic, practical reasons for certain people to have certain says, and then everyone else agree to those practical reasons and agree to cooperate. In my opinion, that's literally what leftism and the left is meant to be about, right? So that's why I would say anarchism can actually say it's against all there's the indigenous people thing. So even in those cases, I would say it is a voluntary cooperation with the pragmatic and reasonable understanding that the elder does have more wisdom and does know a whole lot more than you, but not to a point where you will literally go against your own identity or your own self-agency to do what they say when you have a valid reason not to. So I don't think that they were that strict like that. And if they were, then I think that they didn't need to be. But I think many of them weren't, and so even though we describe it as hierarchy, we're describing a hierarchy in an aesthetic sense, where we're like saying that that's how it is functionally operating, but it's not a hierarchy in the power sense, you know? And that's super important, because a hierarchy is only ever needed for some people at the top of the hierarchy to overrule the agency of those at the bottom. And if people are already cooperating with you, then you don't need to overrule the agency. So, although not all anarchists say this, I think the legit anarchist position is that we don't justify and we don't see any point in any real power-based hierarchies. Voluntary, cooperative, tree-like structures of people saying things where you are voluntarily able to voice disagreements or leave and there will be no negative repercussions on you, that free association is maintained there. That isn't hierarchical. People who are pro-authoritarianism, what they'll do is argue that sometimes hierarchies are justified, and then they will take that and they will take it out of those immediate situations, and they'll say, well, that's why we need a police force, that's why we need politicians in the states, and all this kind of thing. It all stems from an excuse for hierarchy, an excuse for power imbalances. I don't think it's ever okay for there to be structural power imbalances in society. Yeah, anyway, hopefully that was interesting. Thank you for watching. Bye.